is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening as we are discussing free speech and free men. And of course, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. And as always, you are welcome to join us. Thank you here especially to Mr. Taylor Najee and my man Andrew L. for contributing to support tonight's program, and everybody else here. Thank you very much for supporting the new black media. And especially now, I don't do this kind of thing very often. I don't. But I would like to send a special happy birthday to our sister Dee Tubman. Dee has been an indefatigable, look it up. She has been a tireless worker for what we do since day one. She is obsessive over it. She has really chronicled a lot of what we do. She is one of the unsung heroes of what we do here. But I just want to let her know that, you know, we appreciate everything you've done, Dee. You didn't ask. You just jumped right in and started. And whenever you were needed, you were always available. So especially we are always grateful to you for everything that you've done, sister. You have honored us greatly. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the Black Channel. Let's go ahead and take a few phone calls here. Let me get a caller from area code 804. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Mr. Jason Black. Much pleasure to talk to you. I'm Kendall from Richmond, Virginia.
Kendall from Richmond, Virginia, and what's on your mind?
Yeah, that lady with the song, that was cringeworthy. It was probably even worse than the buck dancing people for the Kentucky James Brown or whatever she wants to be called. But I just want to tell you, sir, you and the black media have been raising up some writers. I've been listening to some new content. You put the word game on us. You've enlightened us. Dude, we're on code, and I feel it. I love it. And I'm giving this same word game to my grandkids. Boy, I love it. That's all I wanted to say to you, sir.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 504. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mr. Black, Charles Jr. from New Orleans.
Okay, you say Charles from New Orleans?
Charles Jr. from New Orleans.
All right, Charles Jr., what's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing? B1 family. Happy birthday to you, Miss D. Tubman. Yeah, what the last caller said, that was cringeworthy with that Disney song. She's beneath you. Anybody can clap her. Anybody that has listened to the New Black Media in the last 5 years and taken up the New Black Media's talking points can easily discount her. But what I wanted to say is that earlier today I read an article how Elon Musk has plans on wanting to monetize the tweets for Twitter. So Twitter is more likely going to become the new TikTok space where black creators going to have their tweets monetized and taken from them by white creators. Because I remember last year there was a sister who had her poetry or spoken word taken from her from a white male troglodyte. So I believe that's what's going to happen later on.
Well, I mean, hopefully, I would want black folk here, if you're really concerned about that kind of thing, black folk have to take it seriously, which means copyright. Lizzo got sued for using somebody's tweet in one of her songs. So if black folk really want to take this seriously, just understand, if you're afraid that white folk are going to monetize it, that's your first clue that you need to be the one monetizing it. Don't wait to figure out its value. Black folk will really get concerned about value after the white folk have stepped in. If we have some of value, we got to step in and get that ourselves first. So thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get a call from area code 336. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Janae from San Diego.
All right, Janae from San Diego. What's on your mind?
Hey. So, from what I'm seeing with my observation, a lot of people think that Elon just made this decision on his own to purchase Twitter. But for him, what it looks like is coming from the top, or somebody higher than him. And what it also looks like, a lot of the conservative social apps like True Social and Getter, or those such, they've been making a lot of money, banking a lot. So what it looks like is that the Democrats threw him out there, Elon Musk, to go ahead and purchase Twitter because it was tanking. So it looks like a damage control thing where Elon is like dewatering the ship here. And that's just my personal opinion on that.
Well, and truthfully,
So I don't
truthfully speaking, I do have to say, Twitter has not been tanking, actually. You don't pay $44 billion to take something private that's been depreciating in value. Now, a while back, we were taking a look at, compared to Facebook, it seemed like Twitter was kind of withering on the vine. But, I mean, Facebook lost, 30% of Meta? Lost 30% of its value in a week earlier this year. So in reality, Twitter has actually been punching very well above its weight. Twitter Space has been a huge hit. So going forward, it's this short form of communication, which I'm not big on short forms of communication, to be totally honest, because it doesn't really allow you to flesh out thoughts necessarily, but attention spans are attention spans. I got to work within the confines that we're given. No, Elon Musk is what happens when a white man has enough money to throw his weight around. When they are given the resources they need. See, as black folk, we get hit. This is the whole point. If you want to know what the point of white supremacy is, this right here is it. White people having the ability to jump up and just do whatever they want, whenever they want. If you take a look at the story of the creation of Twitter, I was talking about this with some of my other folk earlier today. When you take a look at the story of the creation of Twitter, that the guy was named Evan. He used to own Blogger. He sold that to Google for a whole bunch of money. That made him rich. Then he got together with Glass and Jack Dorsey, and they started Odeo, of which Twitter was a small, when they originally came with the idea of Twitter, which is like short messages, Twitter was just a small part of Odeo. So what you're seeing there is that the wealth of Google paid to create Twitter. There's a direct line between the wealth of Twitter, the venture capitalists and the wealth that built Twitter, Google, and that wealth moving to Twitter to create even more. Mm-hmm. And now Elon Musk has fed back into it, because remember, the big problem with Twitter for a decade was, how do we make money? How do we make money? How do we make money on this thing? How do we do that? Elon Musk has showed up, and damn advertising or anything else, he's going to give you the value of it up front. $44 billion. $44 billion. Let me put that in context for you. Disney paid about $80 billion for Fox. Let me put that in context. Disney, when they bought 20th Century Fox, the movie studio, they paid about $80 billion. I want to say a little over $80 billion for Fox. Didn't get the Fox News channel, didn't get Fox Sports, just basically for the media television TV wing. And Elon Musk just came in and paid half that just for Twitter. I'm putting that in context for you, so I can understand why you might think that, but in reality, Twitter and Snapchat, ironically enough, both of those have actually seen some of their fortunes reverse. Twitter, however, has a relevance. Let's be very, very clear. Twitter has a relevance that Facebook and these other social networks don't have. Why? What is that? Why is that? Because many of the people and the personalities of legacy media, they're not people who type out big, long paragraphs like I do. And they're not available for hours and hours. So Twitter is this place that celebrities can show up, say something very brief, and then go about their business, just like Instagram. That's why both Instagram and Twitter have more relevance than Facebook does today. Because these are places where more affluent people, rich people, celebrities, they can spend a brief amount of time, get something out there, and then go on about their business. So in many regards, Twitter has much more relevance. Elon Musk is paying for the relevance of Twitter. Because in order to combat Twitter today, do you realize how much in resources you would need to make a site that could compete with it when the people are already there? And hold on to its young people better than Facebook has. Facebook has not aged nearly as well as Twitter has. Owe that to their low attention spans or whatever, but shorter stuff is where it's at for the young people at least. However, it's been a very effective tool for older people with money and got their money and affluence together. So I can understand why you might think that, but no, it's just white wealth is doing what it does, and the whole purpose of keeping black people firmly under their thumb is so that we don't get to make moves like this. So you're 100 years behind everybody else. That's the whole point, because if we ever halfway caught up, we blow by them like they're standing still. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get a call from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm Dion D. Jenkins. I'm running for U.S. Senate in the state of California, and I live in Vallejo, California. Running in the state of California. It's a privilege to talk to you, Mr. Jason Black. I have been hearing about you for quite some time. I started listening to you recently, and my goodness, you completely blown me away. So to give you a brief story of who I am, I ran for president.
Slow down, sir.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Hello, Mr. Jenkins. Welcome to the Black Channel. Now,
Yes, sir.
we were actually talking about something very specific tonight. So
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yes, I am going. Yeah, I am responding to that as well. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Slow down.
Yes.
Slow down,
So,
Mr. Jenkins.
yep. Sure.
You're apparently new to all this. Not really sure how much you know about us or what we do or whatever. However, people don't just call up and launch into a stump speech. So, very glad that you would like to have access to and reference the audience and whatnot. That's nice and all. However, this would be the equivalent of, for example, if you were having a family reunion and then I came and set up a chair and a DJ booth and speakers and said, hey, everybody, the Black Channel's here. So we do have something else we're discussing here. Now, what you're saying is that you're a candidate for the Senate in California?
Yeah, yes, sir. That's
Okay.
me.
Well, here's what
Yes, sir.
I want you to do, okay?
Okay.
Because there's a criteria.
I also wanted to respond. Yeah.
Okay,
There's a criteria.
he's off to a bad start here, sir. Calm down. Here's what I want you to do. If you want to discuss your political aspirations, I am going to require 3 things of people who wish to do that kind of thing. It's perfectly fine. Number 1, I'm going to require that these people be serious and can be taken seriously. So anybody who used to do porn and wants to run for office, that's going to be a different matter. Number 2, they need to be able to articulate clearly what it is they want. And number 3, and this one is most important, I'm going to need to see proof that they have actually been doing their own footwork before they come to me. I'm not here to launch anybody's political campaigns. I'm not here for that. What I do is I can take an interest in somebody who has already launched their own. Now that's I can do. But they have to convince me that they're serious in that regard. So here's what I want you to do. Or here's what you're going to have to do. You can email me at theblackauthority@yahoo.com. That's what you can do. And if you can show where you have put in your own work here to promote your own campaign, I have a special place in my heart for candidates who have confronted the incumbents already. Marcel Dixon got my attention when I saw that he actually took out the time of his day to go to an event and go confront James Clyburn directly. Now, that's somebody I can take seriously. So if you all really want to know how to fast-track yourselves to credibility over here, things like that. Now, that's what does it. Then I can be like, well, hell, you've already done your work. Let's go ahead and chop it up. But if it comes to a situation of, well, let me see if I can talk to Jason, and Jason can convince his audience and deliver them, it doesn't work that way. So to everybody listening right now, because I have gotten quite a few inquiries, If you want to know why it is I haven't reached out, is because I'm looking to see what you have done first on your own, because hustle respects hustle. Clear enough?
Oh yeah, I have plenty of proof. I have my own way of doing it, though. I have not yet. In the state of California, there is no debates as of yet, so there's no way that I can actually speak against the incumbent, which is Alex Padilla. But I do have other ways and other forms of evidence and proof that I am doing the groundwork, and I was on an interview.
Well, you can certainly send that and email that to me, and we'll take a look at it.
Right.
Now, as far as tonight's program here, you had something you want to input for that. Yes.
So, I think that it's a prerequisite that black people who descended from American slaves own their own social media sites and other media entities. I have an actual personal experience with this type of censoring. When I ran for president in 2016 and 2020, I kept reparations as a main focus of my platform, and Facebook used desperation tactics to keep me from buying political ads. Real talk. In 2016, they will find little technicalities and even non-technicalities, lying as such, to keep me from buying those ads. In 2020, they changed their policy to force their users to get verified before they can run ads. And the excuse that they used was misinformation propaganda. So yes, you are absolutely correct. When I started gaining steam with those ads, they got even stricter. So yeah, I just wanted to call in to basically compound on what you were saying. And yes, I will follow the prerequisite that you established for your program. And thanks for listening to me.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And like I say, I get people who are interested in speaking to the audience and things. I have no problem with that. However, how I do things here, the manner in which I do things here is that I don't deliver an audience. Roland Martin is a puppet that does that. I want to make sure that if somebody's running for office, like I say, it's not going to be just handed to you. If they demonstrate to me that they're hustling and they're making it happen and they got things they're doing on their own, then that's the kind of person, okay, you put in footwork, let's go ahead and see that. That's a good sign that you will continue putting in footwork. So for me, that's the criterion that I use. And by the way, if somebody don't want to talk to you, whatever, I didn't ask to speak to Keisha Bottom B, by the way. I threw up billboards on the freeways out there, and I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'm here to rain on your commute. Caller from area code 901, you're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Brother Kareem. Peace to you, God. I'm calling from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, Kareem from Memphis, take your phone off speaker. What's on your mind?
Okay, hold on. Let me take my phone off speaker. Yeah, so since we got Alice in Wonderland over the Ministry of Truth, then does that mean that we can give white folks back their holiday and then they can tell the truth that we've been celebrating Juneteenth before the government federalized it? So since they got this Ministry of Truth then, which basically becomes a crime in a world full of lies. So yeah, that was just my 2 cents on it.
Well, I was thinking about that earlier today because I was thinking about Dr. King's birthday or Dr. King Day, We're going to make Dr. King a federal holiday, and now Juneteenth. So you got 2 of them for black folk, and I guess that's what will impress us. I'll give you back both of your damn federal holidays. Cut the check. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You can have back both of your damn holidays, for that matter. You can have back both of your damn holidays. Cut the check. Cut the check. Yeah, I'm dead ass serious about it. That's how serious I am. I'll give you back both of your federal holidays. You give the Asians and give the Latinos symbolism. Drop them benefits and them tangibles that you've been giving the Asians, the Latinos, and the LGBT, and the Ukrainians and the Afghans. Yeah, drop them tangibles that you've been giving them. You give them the federal holiday. I'll go for that. We can do that one. Let's have this here trade. Let's make this here trade. Hey, Ukrainians, you can have a national holiday. Oh, that's good, Mr. Blackie. What does come with holiday. Move to the side. I take holiday. Yes, we have holiday. Holiday good. We love holiday. We want holiday. Ukrainian day. We dance in the streets. That's right. How much money comes for a holiday? Oh, nothing. You get the same damn thing we got. Pat on the back. Day off of work. What is this, Mr. Blackie? I cannot get jiggy with these. Give me back my tangibles. You keep holiday. Comrade. No, give everybody else the damn holiday. Drop the tangibles over here. All the tangibles, gather them up in a big ass truck and bring them on over here. Yeah, we'll take that. Give them the holiday and the day off work. Call from Area Code 601. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Mr. Black. This is Cheryl from Pearl, Mississippi. Thank you for taking my call.
Cheryl from Pearl, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. You know, I constantly listen to your podcast across the week. I study many other people, and I encourage other people to do the same, such as Dr. Amos Wilson. I'm sure you're familiar with him, as diverse in knowledge as you are. And, you know, our people, upon my studies, we've just constantly been targeted. There's never been a time that we've had just any level of peace. Now, I don't know how we, as a people, became delusional and under the assumption that this equality literally existed in America for us and that something had really changed. But people like Dr. Amos Wilson, people like yourself, people like Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. John Henry Clark, these people make it plain, easy to understand that we are the target and we have never stopped being targeted. And we are owed a debt because we've done the work and we built a world power for free. And these people are always talking about retribution and correcting the wrongs of the past, but they refuse to pay what they owe. And
well, they're never going to just volunteer it is the real thing. The civil rights generation, everybody before that, the idea that they were going to volunteer it, the idea that integration would soften their hearts, the idea that if we could just, they were going to church and we were going to church, and if the love of Jesus could just break down this barrier between us, then everything would be fine. That's been the illusion and the mirage that black folk have been chasing for so long. So waiting for that has just proven to be a red herring. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now let me get caller from Area Code 767. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
There's Jerome out of the Caribbean, Dominica. 2 points on misinformation. With CNN Plus going out of business and BNC, and they've also got, they're also trying to extradite this guy WikiLeaks from England, which it seems is going ahead. So they've already got rules in place against WikiLeaks and Edward Snowden. So I think that bringing this in is for the midterm elections. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. Now, I talked about this before. And on tomorrow's program, I'm going to discuss that as well, because the Democrats here, like I said, I got a lot I want to discuss here tonight, or at least a lot I want us to be able to discuss tonight. And I want to try to keep it as concise as I can. But you take a look there, and I post up here the story from CNN about how the Democrats are worried as hell because Build Back Better went out feet first. Build Back Better has gone belly up. So they're real worried over there. So they want to change the discussion back as quickly as they possibly can to something that they can actually win on. Yeah, there's a reason why they're so frantic to do all this stuff. They ask nicely. Now they're like, okay, we ain't asking nicely anymore. Flood the zone with illegals and buffer classes. Shut up anybody who's disagreeing here. Arrest the others. Caller from Area Code 651. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from area code 651, last try, you're on live. Caller from 651 has been abducted. Caller from area code 904, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? This is Jake from Miami.
Okay, I'm going to start wrapping things up here in a moment. Sir, we didn't make out anything you said. Try that again.
My name. What's going on, Jay Black? This is Jay from Miami. Can you understand me?
Okay, Jay from Miami, what's on your mind?
No, I just wanted to ask you about the misinformation bull job that they were talking about. And, I'll just say the jive turkey injections. Like, why don't they tell everybody that, why is it fair that these companies that make these injections can hide behind legal immunity and the illegal immigrants don't have to take them? I just wanted to see what you thought about that.
Very true about that. There's a whole lot more to that because, folks, doctors sued about, these vaccines to be able to get the information because the FDA wanted to prevent the studies of the vaccines to talk about the effects and the side effects, and they wanted to make it where you couldn't get the information for 50 years. And the federal judge said, man, please, release that stuff now. And folk are going through it, and they're going through the pages, and what they're finding is what we said the whole time. There were all sorts of reports, all sorts of studies, all sorts of findings where they were finding all kinds of side effects, all kinds of issues and problems, all the things they were telling Rizza Islam, shut up, it ain't happening. Now that they're going through the paperwork, it's like, oh, by the way, yeah, it is in there. It is like that. So, yeah, this is a concerted effort. It's conscious. This is really about seeing how well you can be controlled. And if it's harder to control, you were going to tamp down on it. So every time you turn around, it's something else. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Just understand, they're not concerned about disinformation. They're concerned about information. There has always been, quote unquote, disinformation, people, if you want to be technical about that. There's always been information that was not completely accurate. What we call history today, for example. We have always had to be scrutinizing of what we call history because even under the best of circumstances, there creep in errors, there creep in problems, there creep in biases, there creep in omissions. Even somebody under the best of circumstances, even somebody trying to document a historical event to the best of their ability, there are going to be things that are missing. There are going to be things that interject. There are going to be things to do that. The reason you would call it disinformation is because you didn't get the outcome you were looking for. You notice whenever somebody's getting the outcome that they're looking for, they don't care what the people are talking about. They don't care what the people are talking about. They don't care what the people say. They don't care what the people believe. It's all good as long as they're, quote unquote, winning. It's all good as long as they're getting the results that they want to get. It's all perfectly fine as long as the outcomes of the elections or the outcome of the stock sale or the outcome of the quarterly report or the outcome of the news is what they want it to be. And there is, all of a sudden, there's no disinformation. Everything's great. Everything's fine. See, black folk been dealing with disinformation forever. If they were concerned about disinformation, will y'all tell me where the hell the disinformation police were with Emmett Till? Where were the disinformation police with Emmett Till? Where were the disinformation police before now? Where were the disinformation police with Mike Brown? Where were the disinformation police with Alton Sterling? Where were the disinformation police with Eric Garner? Where were the disinformation police with Trayvon Martin? Where were the disinformation police with Tamir Rice? Where were the disinformation police about Harambe, a damn gorilla? Where were the disinformation police there? Where were the disinformation police about Philando Castile? Where were the disinformation police about Muhammad Nawar? Where were the disinformation police there? Because we were the people having to swat through all of that and whip through all of that and brush all the garbage to the side. Where the hell was it then? Tatiana Jefferson, Rakia Boyd, Sandra Bland. We got to sit up here and sue people and go through all kinds of hoops and hurdles. Where were the disinformation police? Where was the concern about, quote, disinformation then? Akai Gurley. Where's the disinformation police then? Disinformation doesn't exist until you don't get the outcome you want. Then all of a sudden, oh, it's disinformation. Oh, you're misleading people. Breonna Taylor is still waiting for justice. And Joe Biden didn't have a damn word to say about disinformation. Black folk being told all the time about what prosecutors can't do. Bill Cosby's arrest and prosecution was a textbook example of wall-to-wall daily disinformation. Outright lies. Daily. And no one was concerned. Nobody at the White House was concerned about disinformation there. No one was worried about it then. It didn't bother them then. All of a sudden, it looks like they're not going to be able to control it as much as they want to, and all of a sudden, we're worried about, quote, disinformation. We've been sitting up here filtering through all of this mess and wading through all of this garbage now for decades. Decades. You want to know what disinformation is? Let me give you some disinformation. Black and Brown Coalition. There's a big fat slab of disinformation right there. How about that one? How about Joe Biden has changed? How about that one? How about that one? How about we can't do something just for black people? How about that one? Is that disinformation too? Can we get some help over here for that disinformation? I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. Not trying to make anybody upset. I'm just asking for a friend, by the way, but I'm a little concerned about some of that disinformation there, so I'm just wondering. Shout out Kamala Harris. Yeah, there you are, baby. There you are. Come on, hey Montel, come on over here. Yeah, there she go. A walking disinformation campaign. A walking disinformation campaign. Nothing, not a word, nothing at all. Okay. I guess we missed something there. Hey, you want to hear another disinformation soundbite? Police reform. We can keep going. America can't afford reparations. We can keep going if you like. There is no systemic racism. We could be here all night with the stuff that we've been sorting through. Officer Darren Wilson feared for his life. Officer Timothy Loman feared for his life from a 12-year-old child with a squirt gun. Officer Geronimo Yanez feared for his life. Officer Betty Shelby feared for her life. There's nothing the DA can do. Nothing the DA can do at all. They can't do anything. DAs are powerless. People just trust the police and there's nothing you could do. What about Officer Muhammad Noor? Forget about him. And Derek Stafford? Yeah, forget about them too. want to discuss disinformation. No, people, I don't have a problem with it at all. I don't have a problem with it at all. I am ready for battle. We've been doing this summers and winters. Let me tell y'all, we like battle rappers out here, man. We're in the cypher every damn day. That we live here. We live here. We live in the middle of this. They visit the arena of gladiatorial intellectual hand-to-hand combat once every year, like the 4th of July. Man, I got a room over here on the side of the arena. I live here. Got my mailbox and everything. I live in this place. No, I ain't worried about a damn thing. Let's go ahead, cut the bullcrap, take the gloves off, unhook the chains, and let's get it on. Because we're way ahead of you. The only reason why we never weren't able to take over Facebook properly is because they kept sitting up here and censoring people. You put us in an environment where you don't sit up here and keep doing that mess, next thing you know, things change. Let's be very, very clear, people. They wouldn't be so worried about, quote, disinformation about their jabs if it wasn't working. And if they were able to actually prove their point and substantiate what they were saying, they wouldn't have to be worried in the first place. If you can actually explain it to people in a manner that satisfies their concerns, you ain't got nothing to worry about. People, there's a reason why people go to certain doctors and certain mechanics. There's a reason why certain lawyers can't keep the phone lines from ringing. When you are good and credible and people understand, you're dealing with them straight, because the truth is something that's very easy to explain. Truth isn't something that takes a whole bunch of hairpin turns and a whole bunch of radical backflips and let me give you some hard jargon and we need to get together 15 lawyers and professors to figure out what the hell you just said. The truth is something that can be explained very easily, very simply. The root of communication is to take complex concepts and distill them down to a simple essence. That is the definition of the key to effective communication. When you have a government that is speaking and when they get done talking, you're just as confused when you left as you were when you walked in, that's because they don't want you to understand. They just want you to comply. And understanding is not a requisite of compliance. Well, I don't understand why this is happening. I don't understand how this works. You understand that we said sit still and take this jab. Yeah, but I don't understand the rest of it. You don't have to understand it. Comply. And folk have been saying, no, before we do anything else, I need to understand this. Because you're giving these companies immunity and all these other things, and I need to know why is this special circumstance and you want to require us? Okay, if you're going to require me to do something, I need to fully understand what it is you're doing and why, because there are risks involved, and you aren't offering any protection for me from these risks. We don't need to do that. Do as you're told. Okay, now you about to upset me. Now we about to get hostile. Because I asked you to explain what you're doing, and you're talking about what you're going to do to me now. I told you just simply explain what it is you want in simple language I can understand. I've asked questions, addressed my concerns in simple language. Dr. Fauci failed the test every damn time. Now, somebody who is allegedly that learned and that educated and that seasoned, and every time he shows up, he can never explain it properly. That's not accidental. That's deliberate. Somebody in his position after all these years, he shouldn't have to grope for words on anything. They should just roll off his tongue. He should be able to explain this in very simple language. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, nobody ever leaves one of his videos sitting up here like, wow, I didn't really understand what they're talking about. He can explain black holes and supernovas in very simple language. What's his name? Bill Nye, the science guy. He did that for decades. Anthony Fauci shows up, and all of a sudden, we just say, yes, sir, can you explain about these side effects one time right here? Well, you know what it is. It's around the cerebral cortex here, and the DNA as it wraps around your brain, and, backflips over here, and then the magic wand does the sprinkle fairy dust, and, but don't worry about it here. Just take it. Okay, stop. Stop, you little short bastard. Stop. You see, information isn't complex. Information can be complex, but it can be turned simple. When it becomes incredibly complex and confounding, and every time you ask, you either get a different answer or no answer at all, somebody's trying to do something. Let me get a caller from area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Leroy from Atlanta. What's going on, Jason?
Leroy from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Man, you know why they can't explain why they got to use all them big terms and tell you don't understand? Because they lying, flat out. Look, what I'm about to say to you, man, don't take it as an insult, and don't try and read into what I just said as an insult. But they have already admitted that they done lost the debate by forming this board, because they wouldn't have to form this if people like you and this is the part that I'm saying not take it as an insult. You and the New Black Media and other sources are all alternative media to the MSM. MSM ain't pushing nothing but some lies. And anybody with a grain of sense know that shit. You can look at what's going on over there in Ukraine. It's ground central for lying right now, every which way. They got Nazis in the government, but a Jew is the president. Well, everything we told about World War II is that the Nazis tried to kill 6 million Jews. But now we got Jews with Nazis in the government, and Ukraine's supposed to be the new Israel? Bruh.
Well, the real thing is here's the real thing, okay? What has been lacking up to this point is we're told the only time that questions can be asked is by people in the government, of people in the government. Now, there's the real problem. That the only questions that can be asked is by a Rand Paul or, by a Nancy Pelosi or something. That the general public, you can have rules made for you by the government, but that you are not allowed to question it directly. I don't need a middleman to ask for me. And unfortunately, most of these people are not competent enough to be able to do so. If they were, Fauci would already be in jail somewhere. But that's not what's happening.
Oh, no question.
So the difference is that up until now, we've been told that we don't have to worry about questioning the government. Well, somebody else in government will do it for you. And then invariably, they either don't do it or they don't do it well enough. Let's be very, very clear. If it was a black person doing what Fauci did, he'd have been gone. He wouldn't have been there this long. He would have been gone. Enough questions would have been asked, and they just would say, we need somebody else who's a little less controversial, and out you go. That's the way that happens. Now, the other thing is, anybody who's from the streets, anybody who's spent any time whatsoever on the streets, you know damn well, when somebody's there to do business, it's very easy to understand. Whether it's a car, whether it's a chair, whether it's a computer, whether it's a kilo of dope, it's real easy to understand. It don't take a whole, but you don't go do switches and turns when, okay, I'm trying to get a key. Okay, what you got to do over here is, we have 17 here, get 15 credit cards together here, and as we come here, I'm also going to need to make sure you go around the block and then under the table over there. It's just we have to understand and bring some formaldehyde with you here as you wash your hands without. Man, where's the key?
Look, Jay, let me jump in. When they came out with all these incentive-based programs where they're willing to give prisoners ramen noodles, or out here in the streets they saying, we'll give you joints for jabs, all this crazy shit, or we'll give you a couple of $100 if you come take the shot. There is no place on this planet where the weed man will say, look, just, you wanted to set, right? Just come on over here. And as a matter of fact, when you get here, I'm going to give you the bag and some money. No, bruh, it don't work like that. But they just want you, like you said, comply. And then they'll turn around and tell you, well, you're not smart enough to understand, so I don't really have to explain it to you. Just do it, because I said so.
Yeah, there it is.
And
You wouldn't actually understand it. Don't worry. There's a whole bunch of complicated stuff in here, but don't worry. It's all right. Comply. And there's the problem. It's like, wait a minute. There's no other area in my life where you would advise a person to behave in such a manner. No other area, period. You would, if you had cancer, they would never sit up here and say, okay, if go to your doctor and get some chemotherapy. That's not what they say. They say, go to your doctor and discuss which options are right for you. What do they tell you? If you want to know about a medical professional, go and bring your questions. Write them down beforehand. Have them explain it to you plainly so that you understand. Only now we're being told that we don't need to understand anything. Not about elections, not about vaccines. We don't need to understand anything. And let me go ahead and explain what I said there. There were some folk I had to block on Twitter about that. Well, I said, they're telling us that we can't ask questions about elections or vaccines. Well, okay, if you sit up here and question the 2020 election, you're subject to get your account canceled. Okay, so that, in other words, all of our elections shouldn't be questioned now. Interesting, because Stacey Abrams is still questioning and claiming that she won the election for Georgia. She's claiming she still won that. Al Gore's people are still claiming that they won the election of 2000. So what I'm saying is, all of a sudden, when it comes to Joe Biden, all of a sudden, we're not supposed to question anything. We're supposed to just comply, shut up, eat, not sell the soap, but eat the soap, and do as you're told. And we're just like, okay, I couldn't help but notice that that's happening. You want the Republicans to win? No, I want black people to win. I don't support either one of these. And when I see you giving preferential treatment to either one of these, I'm going to start asking questions. I'll let you have the last word.
Because they putting themselves out there. I mean, what you saying about not questioning anything, you can apply all of that to this gender dysphoria trash they got everybody, well, not everybody, but they got people that they want to comply to. All of a sudden, when you just brought up Bill Nye the Science Guy, in the 90s, you can find it anywhere. He knew what a man and a woman was. Come to the 2020s, it's all up in the air now.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the science guy doesn't know science anymore.
Yeah, man, it's fucking ridiculous, man. They really think we really lump and we just gonna go along. Never mind, it's a 40-year history of fucking the Tuskegee experiment. What is the government doing with black people 40 years and fucking syphilis? What are y'all doing? And if you're not going to answer that question, they come with that Boule Martin bullshit of, well, they didn't inject us, they were monitoring us. If we go with that, is that supposed to be better? That you just sat there and watched us die and get sick and then try and treat us? That's supposed to be better? But we got these... Man, look.
If you're not declaring that you have over 10,000 illegal aliens coming over the border, every week at this point, if you're not sitting up here worried to death and panicking about them being vaccinated, how the hell are you going to sit up here and try to put the squeeze on us? Shouldn't you be down there making sure about everybody? Because if you're not worried about all of them and you don't even know where at least in our case, we can prove where we came from. We got birth certificates, we got driver's licenses, we got a paper trail. We can prove where we've been. You don't know where the hell these people just basically dropped in from Mars and they're coming across the border, and that's not worrying you. So you're not worried about them. You're just worried about us. That's very ominous. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. That should tell you something. If you really were concerned, you should be trying to chase this virus down wherever it is. But you're only concerned about us. You're just concerned about us. And yes, telling somebody that a man can have a menstrual cycle and a woman can a man can give birth and a woman can have male genitalia. If that's not the definition of disinformation, I don't know what is, because that's not just disinformation, that's insanity. That's insanity. A girl can have a penis. Is that disinformation? Someone tell me, is that disinformation? A man can have a menstrual cycle. Is that disinformation? A man can have ovaries. Is that disinformation? Ketanji Brown Jackson, I don't know what a woman is. Is that disinformation? Yeah, while we're talking about Russia and Mexico, by the way, saying that a man can have a menstrual cycle and a woman can have a penis, does that meet the threshold of disinformation? Well, if I believe it, it's true. Okay, well then in that case then shut up about, quote, disinformation. I'm sure the Russians believe it too. I'm sure they believe it. Caller from area code 562. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Phyllis Williams. I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Phyllis from Los Angeles. What's on your mind?
Well, I just saw last week that now they're trying to put together a way to develop breast milk and in some sort of scientific way. My overall belief is that, and I've been watching this for many, many years, the whole game plan is to get rid of not only black people, but get rid of women. Our only purpose of being here is to have a baby in the first place. That's our overall purpose. Now, if they have figured out how to have a baby without a woman, and if they can figure out this breast milk, why are we here?
Well, I mean, technically you've already got artificial formulas. However, there are specific unique properties to a mother's breast milk, obviously, for the child's immune system and so on and so forth. However, believe it or not, those properties can actually be mimicked. So certainly that's hard. They're foot to the floor on that. But let's be very, very clear. On the one hand here, we have to remind people there were enough black women who were backing this, and now we've gotten to this critical mass where it's like, by the way, we can just define you the hell out of here. So everybody who thought that was a joke because of their daddy issues, you got fooled. But number two, this is about population control and reduction. Let's be very, very clear about that. This is about population control and reduction. Wherever black people are, there's some white person wanting to walk in talking about medical care and talking about birth control. Wherever there are black people, they run in talking about medical care and birth control. You know where white folk have not expressed any concerns whatsoever about medical care and birth control? China. Couple billion people, and for some strange reason, China gobbling up resources and everything else and their pollution and stuff like that never bothered them. But black folk, whether it's here in America or in Africa, they are obsessively worried about our numbers. And the next thing you know, we can't get health care to be damned over here. Black folks' health care needs are never met in America. But when it comes to abortion, you can get that easier than... We got black folk in America who have died from tooth infections, from a tooth abscess. But yet you couldn't get to an emergency room. And yet, if you want an abortion, it's front row seat, no waiting. No waiting whatsoever. You can go through the abortion like a damn drive-through at Taco Bell.
Well, I tell you, like Dick Gregory left, with the last words I heard him say, two places you don't want to be if you're black: in jail and in the hospital. You better figure out some kind of way to develop a strong enough immune system naturally. What we really need to do is go back to the old school. I mean, if we literally take white people out of our lives as much as possible, and we can actually damn near do it, we would be alive. Our immune system is so much stronger than theirs. They can't get rid of it. And they've been trying for how long? They can't get rid of it. But they have really, really, really got down to the point where they figured out if they can literally, excuse my language, if they can literally stop the black man, it's not so much the black man, they want to stop that dick. If they can stop that dick from working and producing that sperm, cut off that one black woman's breast milk, because we got the strongest breast milk in the world, we have got rid of them. They can't do that. They can't do that. They will spend all the money in the world to figure that out. But they can't do it. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. The best way to deal with the healthcare system is avoiding it. How is it that we ruled the earth for hundreds of thousands of years and we didn't have a chain of hospitals? How in the world is that? The longest lived people in the world, the healthiest people in the world, the most physically active people in the world, and we didn't have a chain of hospitals. We didn't have a chain of Humanas. Didn't have a chain of Christus Health. Didn't have a chain of hospitals. Think about that for a few moments. Caller from area code 504. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Alan from New Orleans.
Alan from New Orleans, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to just chime in again. Remember on MSNBC, they wanted us to believe that we didn't see the black people in Ukraine being treated the way we were treated, and I can't think of her name on MSNBC. Remember, she kept saying that, we shouldn't believe what we see on Twitter. We should hear that from someone from the government. And if you don't hear that from anyone from the government, then you shouldn't trust what you see.
Okay, but when Trump was in charge, you can't believe the government. So think about that part. You need to take everything, whatever the government says is true. If Fauci says it is true, okay, when Trump was in office, can't believe anything the government says. As soon as her master gets up in there, believe everything the government says. Somebody like that who's that apt to change and spend on a dime, they're entertainers. They're not a reliable source of information. There's a reason why individuals like Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow and Tucker Carlson and all the rest of them have to be insulated from the public, because if they were forced to sit down here with even a layman to ask these questions in an open forum and question what they're saying, their credibility would be destroyed. It would be annihilated within seconds, and they know this.
Yeah, like Simone Sanders when she cut off Charlemagne when Charlemagne was asking those questions, and then she flipped on Charlemagne and said that Charlemagne was sounding like a Republican now. And then she kept saying, "Oh, we gotta go. That was our last question. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go."
And by the way, how'd that turn out for her? All that bootlicking that she did, and all that mammying she did, and all that ass kissing she did, and by the way, how did they repay her for all of her years of sucking up and bootlicking and loyalty? How did they repay her for that?
Right, and now we have Cedric Richmond on his way out.
All of them learn.
So
understand, cooning is a profession without a retirement plan, man. It's a profession without a retirement plan. She didn't even make it through the damn administration. She didn't even make it through the first couple of years of the administration. She didn't even make it that far. So what does that tell you? They brought you in to get rid of you. They brought you in just to get over the finish line and say, hey, is she coming with us? As soon as they got over the finish line, okay, let me help you out this side door over here. And then they just keep on marching. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, just understand, Joy Reid got her job. As you all remember, when Barack Obama was leaving office and they were doing that purge on cable TV, remember? When Barack Obama came into office, the news media was even giggling about the fact that they were scrambling to hire as many black folks as they could. Go back and Google it. When Barack Obama came into office, they were laughing about, oh, we don't have a lot of black folk here. We're really scrambling to hire a bunch of people. What does that say about our news organizations? So they hired every discount, soft, soggy Negro they could all over the damn place when you have a quote-unquote black president. All of a sudden, they went on a hiring spree of black people. Here comes Al Sharpton with the TV show. They went on a hiring spree. As soon as Obama was getting ready to leave office, he wasn't halfway through their second term. Remember, they started the purge. Remember? They started purging them all off of their networks. Bowling Ball Martin was one of them that they purged. Remember him? Yeah, Roland, we're reminding people. By the way, go back and check that out. When Obama left office, they started purging everybody. Melissa Harris Perry, Goldie Taylor, Roland Martin. Oh, it was a bloodbath, remember? Remember, folks, it was a bloodbath. Tamron Hall. See, this is why you have to have the new black media, because I was there and I witnessed it, and I'm not just like, I remember they fired a whole bunch of black folk area. I can't remember their names exactly, but there was a whole bunch going on. Now, I can tell you exactly who it was, and you can go Google it for yourselves for those of you who remember. Yeah, there's a bunch of you right now. All of a sudden, understand, this is not disinformation. You know why? Because I can explain it to you in very clear, simple language. There's a reason why you ain't gonna argue with it. There's a reason why it punches through and it hits like it's supposed to, because, yeah, we're telling the truth about this. You can go look up all those names and then take a look at when they all got removed. Go back and look up all those names and see when they all got removed from cable TV. They all happened within short distance of each other. Yeah, because the media was talking about, okay, Obama's leaving office, just like they were bragging that, okay, we ain't got enough black folks, let's hire some. They were bragging about, by the way, we're clearing the deck. All you niggas got to go. Tamron Hall had to go. They brought in Megyn Kelly. Oh, boy. And they cleared the deck, and then they realized that a whole bunch of folk were noticing that, by the way, you're ethnically cleansing your TV networks. Then they brought it, okay, the one nigga rule will apply. Bring in Joy Reid. She's a desperate immigrant. She'll hang in whatever we got to say. And that's what you got left now. And Joy Reid would literally sit up here and tell you that Ronald McDonald is the world's foremost authority on immunology if the Democrats told her to. You know, you can't judge him because of all the face paint and everything like that and the big red shoes. And I know he's been working at the drive-thru and things and dancing for children here, but he's putting a lot of time. That Joy Reid would literally do that if they told her to. I'm not joking. She would literally pick up the microphone and sit there with as straight a face as you ever saw in your life. He had humble beginnings, making a big BLT. Some people want to mock him for his choice of profession. No, she would literally be doing that. Literally. And the only thing that saved her is nobody directly questions it. Remember, Angela Rye couldn't do it. Simone Sanders couldn't do it. Michael Eric Dyson can't do it. You see, when we win the debate, they call that disinformation. When you play their words back for them, they call that disinformation. When you play their words back. Just recognize what you're really looking at there. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not worried at all. We were built for combat. We've already been in the arena. We've been waiting on them. Trust me, it's going to be easy pickings. The reason that you all, let me be very, very clear. For those of you listening, the reason that you trust the black media and you don't trust the corporate media is because you can pick up a microphone and you can call me. And if something I was saying were inaccurate, you'd be able to pick up the mic, you'd be able to pick up a phone, call me and say, hey, what you're saying is not accurate. Joe Biden's not President Trump is. What you're saying is inaccurate. Melissa Harris Perry still works for MSNBC. What you're saying is not accurate. You see, folks, when you actually have the truth, it don't take no time. It's like these police departments. Why do you think we always tell you about the police departments are lying? You know why? Because whenever the dash cam footage or the body camera footage shows that the cops were in the right, they release that footage immediately. You don't have to file a lawsuit while the chief of police or the sheriff, they put the damn footage out immediately. They're proud to show you when they gun these folk down. Well, as you can see, he had the gun in his hands. The one from Florida. There was the one in particular from Florida. They pulled over this car, and the black dude got out, and he just busting caps and things. Next thing you know, they showed him. He actually snuck up on the other cops. He ran around their police car and snuck up behind them. They were so busy hiding behind their car that he actually ran around the car. They didn't realize he was behind them. He sneaks up behind them, and his gun is jammed. So I guess otherwise he might have shot both of them dead. His gun jammed. So he starts whacking one of the cops with the damn gun. And then the one cop runs back. And next thing you know, he lets off like 10, 12 shots at the guy on the ground. I mean, he shot him. He just kept busting till there wasn't nothing in the gun. And the sheriff down there said, and for any idiots who might ask why we shot the suspect so many times, it's because evil can't be dead enough. No, not Sheriff Grady. Not Sheriff Grady. This is another sheriff in Florida. You can look that one up. Not Sheriff Grady. He's the one that gets the headlines. No, I'm talking about another white sheriff. Not Sheriff Grady. I'm talking about another one. To any idiots who might ask why we shot the suspect, why we shot the